When I was 13, I vividly remember being in the back of a bus as it hauled my family and I up a mountainous peak in India. Keeping with our reputations as ABCDs, or American-born confused Desis, my cousins and I vehemently debated my mother and my grandfather on God's existence. I heatedly declared, "God isn't real, this trip is pointless, and the AC is not working." As that particular bus happened to be taking us to Tirupati, clearly I did not have a sense of timing or delicacy, which some would say is still lacking today. Since I grew up in a predominantly white and Christian neighborhood, I was desperate to fit in, and it quickly became obvious that my brown skin, just like my Indian identity, didn't wash off, no matter how much I wanted it to. As I matured, I became an obsessive, competitive perfectionist who above all desired to control every single aspect of life. As time grew, the fact that I had no real identity and that you cannot control every outcome in life caught up with me. I descended into a constantly sad, stressed out, and angry version of myself, a black hole, if you will. When I transferred schools and became a freshman at St. Stephen's Episcopal, that black hole caused me to struggle in school and extracurriculars for the first time in my life. To me, my success was a measure of gratitude towards my parents. If I couldn't indulge them by embracing my Indian culture, then maybe my academic success could serve as my own measure of gratitude towards them and their struggle. When I couldn't deliver in school, I felt like I was not only letting them down as parents, but essentially rendering their struggle as immigrants insignificant. The toll of this constant stress, combined with still not fitting in and definitely not being the best at everything, made the black hole way bigger. I fought with my parents frequently and intensely on every small thing. Our fights were made bigger by the fact that my parents seemed to have been body snatched by teenagers and me by an 80-year-old grandmother. Here's an example. Every time I cried over a bad test grade, my mom would roll her eyes and my dad would beg me to get a boyfriend and go to ACL. However, I will note that my mom would shoot my dad a glare and at least say, "Get an Indian boy for your mama's sake." In junior year, I hit an all-time low with little to no motivation to live my life well. Coincidentally, at that point, Chinmaya, I came into the 11th grade class in which they spoke about these issues I was going through. I began to realize my dharma as a daughter was to do the best that I could and leave it at that. So I studied my hardest for tests and didn't worry as much about the results until I got them. I learned to tap into the observer and meditation, which let me study the true motivations behind my superficial fears of being perfect all the time. Something in Chinmaya finally clicked. At some point, I realized our teachers were letting us ask questions and planting a seed in our minds, but they never actually gave us the answers or forced us into believing in God. They never talked about God as much as they talked about lifestyle or perspective. Although God is extremely important, I realized I didn't necessarily have to believe in God to be a Hindu as long as I followed the Vedic morals and lifestyles. Now, I still don't know if I see God, but Chinmaya let me see a power in life that looks out for me, one that I'm grateful for getting me out of my black hole. It's a force I equate to, "it'll all be okay." I see it when Shishtaji takes the time to talk with me over P. Terry's fries and listen to my problems, or when my sister brings me water when I'm studying. It's there when my best friends force me to leave the house during finals week or send me Tiff's treats, when my pinny comes over to help me tie a sari for graduation because I'm really hopeless at it, or when Yashwant uncle risked his life by teaching me to drive, or when Divyanti sends food with her boys when I'm sick. It's there when my mom makes my favorite cookies when I'm sad or does the last load of my laundry without even saying anything, or when my dad, a very tough love kind of guy, silently fills the gas up in my car and brings me coffee after a fight. Chinmaya has let me become the inquisitive person I am, and it'll be the reason the seed my teachers planted in my mind continues to sprout while I'm in UChicago. So, 13-year-old me should know, Chinmaya never told me whether God was real or not, but it was what taught me to ask the hard questions in life, and it was what gave me the tools to seek those answers for myself. Hari Om. Thank you.